On January 10th, 2025, one artist accused another of using AI. In typical fashion, this AI accusation included an annotated drawing with circles and arrows pointing to all the telltale signs of AI. In reality, this was not AI art. These were just a mix of human mistakes and stylistic choices. Many people defended the artist, and the accuser deleted their original tweet and apologized. But the damage was already done. The artist had deleted their account, having apparently been bullied off of Twitter. The art community was furious over this unjust accusation. The AI witch hunts had gone too far. False AI accusations have become a regular occurrence, not only in the art community, but everywhere. Artists, writers, musicians, YouTubers, every form of creative work is now subject to AI witch hunts. In this video, we'll take a closer look at AI witch hunts, talk about why they happen, and how we can put an end to them. Part 1. The Witch Hunt of Zuyu. Let's begin by talking about a specific AI witch hunt that was long, dramatic, and bad enough that it ended in a financial settlement. Zuyu is an artist with a pretty cool art style. He makes art focused on anime like Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man, very peak animes. He is a man of culture. Ice-T Aesthetics is a clothing company that commissions artists to make anime streetwear designs. Zuyu is one of the artists they had worked with in the past, and his designs sold well, so they were working with him again in June 2024. They got some comments accusing Zuyu of using AI art and decided to look more into it. Ice-T asked Zuyu for whips, work-in-progress sketches, so they could see the process and investigate whether or not AI was being used. Zuyu complied and sent the whips, and Ice-T thought it looked suspicious. They then looked into Zuyu's old work and found more supposed evidence of AI usage. Ice-T sent Zuyu a message about the AI accusations, and Zuyu responded to defend himself, saying he's just a normal self-taught artist, he has never used AI art, all he did was make normal mistakes that any artist could make. He says this whole thing sucks and is reducing his motivation to do art. And he says the only way to 100% prove that it's human art is to set up a camera and record the full process from scratch, which he will do when he gets a chance. So far, so good. This is a pretty reasonable response from Zuyu. Ice-T says their specific issue is that they think Zuyu's line art is traced over AI, then colored in later. Other artists who are participating in the witch hunt have pointed out that the line art looks suspicious. Ice-T says if Zuyu can create a time-lapse of him making the original line art, then they'll believe it and happily work with him. Zuyu didn't respond to this message for over a month, so Ice-T decided to resort to a public witch hunt and created a Twitter thread accusing Zuyu of using AI for the whole world to see. Now, I don't know who Zuyu is and what his life is like, but maybe he was busy drowning in the hate mail and negative comments, which he mentioned were making him lose motivation. Maybe he was busy with his actual life. Ice-T could have temporarily removed Zuyu's clothing from the store until he responded. They could have sent a follow-up message at the very least to warn Zuyu before taking the nuclear option, but they decided that witch hunts are more fun. They end their accusation thread by inviting people to join the witch hunt. We're thinking of burning Zuyu at the stake, but before we do that, we want your opinions. This thread went pretty viral, getting millions of views and immediately ruining Zuyu's reputation. One of the top responses on this thread is, "This is how I find out one of my fave artists uses AI." No, you didn't find that out, because this accusation has no proof, and Zuyu said he's innocent and said he would record himself drawing next time. Ice-T could respond to this person by saying, well, we aren't really sure he uses AI, and Zuyu himself said he doesn't use it, but instead they agree with this person that it sucks, acting like they've already proven Zuyu is guilty merely by making the accusation. 2 days later, Ice-T made yet another thread because the first one went viral. Were they going to realize how much damage they caused to a potentially innocent artist for no reason and tell people to calm down and wait for proper evidence? No, they would instead capitalize on the attention and double down on their claims. As the Malleus Maleficarum, the classic guide on witch hunting, tells us, if torturing a suspected witch doesn't get you a confession, then you just need to torture them some more. In this thread, Ice-T provides extensive evidence that Zuyu is an AI user. They say that they are confident Zuyu is using AI. They do make a small note that they don't have any real proof, but don't worry about it. Most of the thread is a breakdown and analysis of why Zuyu's artwork looks AI generated. This Misato art has 2 zippers on the jacket, and the gun originally looked AI generated before Zuyu was told to redraw it. Guns are a telltale sign of AI, it apparently sucks at drawing them. This Nanami art has 2 ends on the shirt. They are more like this, where they point out tiny blemishes. Let us recall, by the way, that even with all these tiny mistakes, the clothing with these artworks were bestsellers, so the people buying the clothes sure didn't think these were problems. They thought it looked cool, which is also what Zuyu thought when he made the stylistic choices that these people are calling AI. Ice-T shares some messages that other artists have sent. Ice-T themselves is not an artist, so they rely on other artists to give their thoughts. They have a full council of judges participating in the witch trial. Some of them are public, and some of them are completely anonymous, because they know it's not going to be a good look if Zuyu turns out to be innocent. Here we have a message from Antwolf, one of the judges. This person seems like they're trying to be really nice. They just want Zuyu to admit the truth. They say, yeah, we wouldn't want to falsely accuse you and ruin your livelihood, and then presumably sent a screenshot of this email to Ice-T, so it could be used in a Twitter thread to ruin Zuyu's livelihood. Actually, can we pause for a second and recognize something? No one in this witch hunt believes they're doing anything wrong. In fact, they all explicitly say that they recognize that false accusations are damaging and can ruin someone's livelihood, and they really don't want to do that. While saying this, they make public false accusations that serve no purpose other than ruining Zuyu's livelihood. I don't even have the time in this video to analyze the mental gymnastics required to do this. Another judge called Mikey Pie sends a long message with his analysis. He says it's not 100% AI, there's definitely some manual work being done, but he thinks it's heavily reliant on AI. He says looking at Zuyu's post history, you can tell this is a real artist who put in a ton of work, but he thinks Zuyu is using his real art skills to hide his AI usage, instead of creating real art. This is quite the oddly specific claim, but it's interesting that even the experts admit that Zuyu is a real artist with skills. Ice-T says it's possible that these are all human errors, and they admit that they don't have 100% proof that Zuyu is tracing AI art. They admit they might have caused serious damage to Zuyu's reputation, so they make a public challenge to Zuyu to join a call, stream himself drawing, and they'll pay him $500 to do this. They also say if Zuyu turns out to be legit, they'll give him $1,000 and apologize. Now I guess we have to give Ice-T some credit for accepting that they have no real proof that Zuyu uses AI besides vibes, and being willing to provide financial compensation for their defamation, but they've done a huge amount of damage when they could have handled this in private DMs. The next day, Zuyu released a video of himself drawing a new art piece, and even with this, some people didn't consider it good enough evidence, but it was generally accepted. Zuyu also put out a big statement explaining his side of the situation. He talks about how he's just a regular struggling artist who's good at some things and bad at other things. He never used AI in his life, he has traced photos in the past for practice, which is a normal thing to do when studying art. The emotional damage that he received from all of this was quite heavy, with people sending him tons of hate messages and even death threats. Yes, the witch hunters sent death threats to poor little Zuyu because his drawings weren't perfect enough for them. It was so bad that he declared he would be taking a break from drawing and social media, and he wasn't sure if he would ever come back. 2 days later, with clear evidence posted, Ice-T made another thread to apologize for their false accusations and try to make things right. They give a breakdown of the situation in a way that's very charitable to themselves, mentioning that Zuyu didn't respond to their messages fast enough and there were mistakes in the designs. Although Zuyu admits to tracing some works in the past, we do not think that such a minor sin warrants the destruction of his reputation or the immense stress that we put him through over the past few days. This is such a cleverly worded statement that makes it sound like Ice-T has the moral high ground. Tracing for practice is not a sin that you get to generously forgive him for. Zuyu did absolutely nothing wrong, but Ice-T needs to spin things to save face as best as they can. They end by paying Zuyu $1,500 and also sending him an iPad. Not bad, I guess. Zuyu's commissions cost $100 to $200, so depending on how many commissions he lost due to this nonsense, he might be owed a lot more than $1,500 if he actually sued for defamation. They also made a special collection in their store with Zuyu's designs, and some of the profits from this collection go to Zuyu. In the end, Zuyu himself took the whole thing nicely and asked everyone to be kind. Sorry, Zuyu. I wasn't very kind to Ice-T in this video. The apology thread only got 285,000 views, while the accusation thread got millions. So I'm guessing there might be a couple million people who never got the memo that the accusations were false. Ice-T could have done so many things differently here. They could have settled it privately, they could have taken the artist's side and said, let's prove you're not AI to the small amount of haters out there. But instead, they chose not to believe the artist, blew up baseless accusations to millions of people, and started a public witch hunt. For those interested in the lore, Zuyu is still making art to this day, though he includes time lapses now to avoid false accusations. Part 2. Artist Witch Hunts. Zuyu is far from the only artist to receive false AI accusations. It's very common these days. Hot Topic released new merch for the Amazing Digital Circus and Murder Drones a few weeks ago, and people accused the designs of being AI generated. They went to the Hot Topic website to leave negative reviews, warning everyone that this is AI generated slop. I mean, look at how in-depth this analysis is. It's so detailed that this guy must know what he's talking about. After observing closely, the image is AI generated. N's bangs in the center do not flow in the same direction as his natural hair flow, his legs are disoriented and warped near the thigh line, his left hand's fingers are warped, his headband has 5 bulbs and should not be decreasing in size exponentially compared to the rest of the headband, and should not be merging with his cap. N's tail syringe is missing, N's core light should not be overlapping the space where his long coat goes down his chest, and Sin does not have a nose. A good image idea, but extremely disappointing that it is AI generated. The artists quickly found out about this and posted proof of their sketches to show that it was not AI generated, and these were just stylistic choices. Then a flood of positive reviews came in, defending the innocent t-shirt from the hate mob. This is not AI. Please look into it yourself and don't play along with a witch hunt. A real human being designed this, and they deserve a massive apology for what's been said over their beautiful drawing. Those are some wise words, JustJ97. A few months ago, one random Twitter account with 20 followers decided to accuse a full-time artist of using AI. You almost can't tell they're all AI generated, but if you look closely, in this case, the accuser was quickly shut down by the many followers of this artist, but instead of apologizing, they doubled down on their accusations, making another thread to point out the signs of AI usage. Here's one example that's just hilarious. This person's like, seems like the hands are messed up. There's an extra finger there. I guess that means you're using AI. What extra finger? There's 5 fingers. If you don't know how many fingers are on a human hand, then maybe you shouldn't be accusing people of using AI. Actually, maybe you're the AI. There are no shortage of examples of AI art witch hunts that I could pull up. I'll show some on the screen right now, but they more or less amount to the same thing. Someone accuses an artist of using AI because of tiny details that they personally don't like. Then the artist posts proof that it's not AI. Then if the witch hunter is really dedicated, they'll call that AI as well. This will go back and forth until someone gives up. Artist witch hunts are harmless a lot of the time, causing short-lived annoyance and drama, but it also causes some artists to lose their motivation and even quit art entirely. This isn't just an online problem, by the way. Real artists are being kicked out of conventions after being falsely accused of AI usage.
If I see one more post about artists being wrongfully removed from an artist alley at a con over false claims of them using AI, I'm going to lose my mind. Now, while legitimate artists are at their booths at a convention, they are being questioned and sometimes accused of using AI. Meanwhile, just a few tables down, there could be a person there just selling completely AI-generated images. I don't want to say we're cooked, but we're cooked.
Part 3. Writing witch hunts. It's not just art though. Writing is also being accused of being AI generated. With art, there are certain supposed signs like bad hands and weird artifacts. With writing, it's M dashes and the word delve. Writing witch hunts are a bit different though, because there's heavier reliance on AI detectors. AI tools which are trained to detect AI writing. The one problem with AI detectors is that they don't actually work, but that's a video for another day. The biggest victims of AI writing accusations are students. There was the infamous case a few years ago when a professor failed a bunch of students for using ChatGPT in their essays. How did the professor know they used ChatGPT? Because he pasted their work into ChatGPT and asked it, "Hey, did you write this?" To which ChatGPT said, "Yeah, I definitely wrote that." Thankfully, we all know by now that ChatGPT doesn't work like that. Every school is concerned about their students using AI to do homework, and they're all using inaccurate AI detectors, leading to a ton of false accusations. It's not just that the AI detectors are inaccurate, it's that teachers are using them in the dumbest ways imaginable. Here's a case of a professor seeing that an essay has a 55% chance of being AI generated. An inaccurate tool is telling you that it's basically 50-50 whether or not something is AI generated, and the professor decided to fail the student for cheating. AI tools are great at empowering dumb people to make dumb decisions with more confidence than ever before. Students now have to record their entire essay writing process to prove that it's not AI, just like artists with time lapses. The simple solution to the AI detection problem is mass surveillance. We just need to monitor everything you do so we know you're not using AI. False accusations are causing students real harm. People are getting their graduations delayed, failing courses, losing scholarships, all because AI detection companies pretended to be accurate and teachers decided to put all their faith in them. Ironically, what people are doing now is taking their human written essay, pasting it into AI detectors, and modifying it to not look AI generated. In other words, they're using an AI tool in their writing to avoid looking like AI. What a wonderful world we've created. It's especially popular to make AI writing accusations against people who make public apologies. If someone's making an apology post, they already did something bad, so the hate mob is already looking for more reasons to hate them. The easiest way to continue hating them is to claim their apology is AI generated. Of course, it's not just students. Fiction authors are being accused of AI as well, and unlike artists, it's harder to prove with writing unless you used Google Docs and have a document history. Writers probably aren't recording their entire process because then you'd see how horrible our first drafts are and we'd die of embarrassment. And it's not just writing and art, there's also AI music, so musicians are subject to AI witch hunts as well. Part 4. Weaponized false accusations. There are two types of AI witch hunts. The ones that I mentioned before, for the most part, were what we might call good faith accusations. The people running these witch hunts genuinely believed they found a witch. But just like during the real witch hunts, there's another type of accusation. One where you accuse someone you know is innocent because you just don't like them. You want to troll them. You want to see them burn. We can call these weaponized false accusations. Mostly, these are just trolls that don't get much attention. The same people who would comment, "Your art sucks," are instead commenting, "Your art is AI generated." There is a Reddit user called Robot Storytime who is fighting on the pro-AI side of the AI art wars. He says, "The best thing to do is accuse all anti-AI artists of using AI. Never believe them, never stop circling flaws in their images, never stop showing them images similar to what they've done. Baseless accusations are fun. Let's apply them to everyone and watch how fun it is." This man is a true villain, and he's right. This is a great way to cause trouble in the art community, as we've already seen. If you're participating in AI witch hunts, you're pretty much helping the pro-AI people by demoralizing real artists. A very public and recent case of weaponized false accusation was Charlie Kirk's debate with Cambridge students. I don't really know who Charlie Kirk is, thankfully, but he debated some Cambridge students, and I guess one of them destroyed him with facts and logic or something like that. People on Charlie Kirk's side started accusing this girl of using ChatGPT.
I debated Charlie Kirk. Republicans were accusing me of using ChatGPT for my answers because every single one of them was very good. For context, I'm an internationally successful debater. I've won national debating competitions.
I found out that I was going to speak to Charlie Kirk less than 12 hours before I spoke to him. Yes, I wrote some notes down on my phone on a Google document, and I didn't expect that I would predict what he was going to say so well. To be honest, I wasn't really thinking about the optics of the situation. I didn't expect people to call me a robot and assume that I was using AI because my responses indicated that I'd thought through what he was going to say and essentially predicted it.
There's no way a smart Cambridge student who has won national debate competitions could ever make good points in a debate. That's impossible. They must be using ChatGPT. This argument doesn't even make sense because accusing your opponent of using ChatGPT is admitting defeat on multiple levels. Not only are you saying that you lost the debate, you're also saying that ChatGPT could beat you in a debate. It's really not a good defense. The TikTok comments get it. Using ChatGPT is the new witch accusation. Part 5. Why we hunt witches. So why is all of this happening? Why are we hunting for AI witches? The different types of AI witch hunts have different purposes. When it comes to students, teachers are trying to prevent cheating, which is reasonable. When it comes to weaponized false accusations, that's just an attempt to discredit someone, and AI is one of the many excuses that could be used. The type of witch hunt I'm interested in analyzing is the one that happens in public on social media. This mostly happens to artists, but also authors, musicians, and filmmakers. I think the most important reason for these witch hunts is that a lot of people rightfully feel threatened by AI. Artists are losing their jobs because of it, and other professions will experience the same soon enough. It's threatening people's livelihoods and hopes and dreams. People want to do something about the AI situation, but a single individual doesn't have the power to fight a trillion-dollar company. Going after AI companies is too hard. The AI wars aren't exactly going well for the anti-AI side, but that's a video for another day. Since they can't fight big companies, they go after individuals instead. Making an AI accusation takes 5 minutes, and if you manage to drive one AI witch off the internet, then you at least feel like you're doing your part in the AI wars. The good faith AI witch hunters genuinely believe they're doing a public service for humanity by rooting out AI witches. Here's a Reddit user who feels regret about making a false AI accusation, but still believes there's a point in hunting AI witches. I think there's some value in socially ostracizing someone for unethical behavior. It's tragic though, because if everyone keeps their mouth shut, then that's AI winning. There'll be no social ramifications for pretending to be a legitimate artist whilst actually using AI, for fear of hurting individual artists with your accusation. Going back to Zuyu's case, one of the witch hunters makes it clear that the reason he's involved is because he believes artists who do commissions are basically committing fraud if they use AI. He wants to make sure no one is getting scammed. And when you put it that way, it doesn't really sound like a bad thing. We all hate scammers, and we're all happy to cheer on when scammers get caught. The difference between the European witch hunts and AI witch hunts is that real witches don't exist, but AI witches do. Except that's not quite right. Real witches did exist. Witchcraft was defined as a form of heresy, which means to do things that the church doesn't like. And heresy was in fact a serious crime with a death sentence. So witches, or at the very least, heretics, were real things that existed. Most people who were accused of being witches weren't actually heretics, but some of them were real heretics who, according to the laws at the time, deserved to die. The real question we should be asking is it okay for the church to decide that anyone who has different beliefs should be sentenced to death? Probably not. Then we can ask, is it okay to decide that anyone who uses AI should be sentenced to online cancellation? Should everyone with different beliefs about the latest technology receive a virtual death sentence? Or is there a better way for everyone involved to get what they want without resorting to witch hunts? Part 6. The solutions. There are two types of AI creators. There are explicit AI creators and hidden AI creators. The explicit AI creators make it pretty clear that they make AI content. These people are not a problem. No one is witch hunting them. If you don't want to consume AI, you can quickly identify these people and ignore them. The hidden AI creators are the real problem. Creators who use AI tools then act like they didn't. Hello, fellow human artists. How do you do? These people don't want want you to know they're using AI, as if they're ashamed, or in the worst case, pretending to be human artists so they can charge high prices for something that took them 1 minute to make. What we need is AI food labels. If platforms required users to disclose whether or not they use AI, then everyone would be happy, except people committing actual fraud. AI haters could just avoid AI content, people who specifically want human-made work could get it, and people who don't care whether it's AI or not could continue consuming whatever they want. Everyone wins. YouTube started doing this with its altered content label, but they don't actually show this when watching the video. It's hidden in the description, which no one reads. They also don't have a way to filter out this kind of content, and it's more geared towards deepfakes than AI. If your video uses AI, but it's not realistic, then you don't have to declare it as altered content on YouTube. Instagram and TikTok have similar AI labels with different degrees of strictness. There's no reason for platforms not to implement proper AI labeling requirements. Of course, users could lie, but it's better than nothing, and newer AI tools like VO3 have an invisible watermark so that apps can identify it as AI generated. There should be legal mandates like the California AI Transparency Act that require every AI tool to have invisible watermarks like this. I think good progress is being made on this front already, but the lack of ability to opt out of AI content is concerning. None of these platforms allow you to filter out AI content. People should be allowed to be AI vegans and abstain from content they believe is unethical. There needs to be a human-only feed. I mean, if the goddamn corn websites can add AI filters for ethical gooning, then so can everyone else. Another question worth asking is, why do you hate AI art? Different people have different reasons for this. Some people hate it purely on an ethical basis, and for those people, all AI art is bad, no matter how good it looks. But some people claim they hate AI because it's inherently low-quality slop. If that's your argument, then your real problem is not with AI, but with low-quality content in general. If you hate low-quality content, that's fine. You don't need to accuse people of being AI when their art isn't good. You can just say their art sucks. Instead of calling something AI, you can just call it low quality, because the point is that it doesn't look good, regardless of how it's made. When you accuse imperfect things of being AI, you're most likely making a false accusation, because anyone using the latest AI models is probably looking pretty decent. Pointing out tiny mistakes and critiquing every minute detail of an art piece is making art inaccessible to beginners who are the ones likely to make these supposed AI mistakes. AI artists don't care about your accusation, but real human artists get hurt by it. AI can't draw hands, but you know who else can't draw hands? Humans learning to draw. To the AI artists watching this, if there are any, you can solve this problem by being explicit about your use of AI. Don't pretend your stuff is human-made. If you're going to use AI, you might as well be proud of it. And if you aren't proud of it, maybe you shouldn't be using it. There are actually a lot of people who like AI art or don't care either way. So you can make stuff for those people who actually like you for you, instead of pretending to be something you're not and making stuff for people who hate you. For the human creators, artists, writers, and musicians, document your process. Build in public. This was a good idea anyway, because it can help you grow an audience, but now it has the added benefit of proving you're not using AI. It kinda sucks that you need to record your process and do this extra work, but if you ever make it big, you'll have all the behind-the-scenes content that you need to make an epic documentary. Being accused of AI art and posting a time-lapse in response is actually its own genre of content now because of how often this happens. It sucks that this is the state of the world, but the only foolproof way to avoid getting burned at the stake when the witch hunters come for you is to have your process recorded. Ideally, the other solutions I mentioned will happen, and this won't be required anymore, but like I said, it's a good practice regardless of the AI situation. You need to understand one thing. You are not good at telling whether or not something is AI. It's not bad at hands anymore. Every problem you point out will keep getting solved, so don't ever be confident about claiming something is AI. I've had people tell me my voice sounds like AI. I don't know. Maybe your airs are AI generated. And have you seen VO3? The only reason I know this isn't actually sees us vlogging is because I know that phone cameras back then weren't this good. It's time to stop the AI witch hunts. They're not doing any damage to the AI companies, they're only hurting your fellow creators. I know witch hunts are fun, but please stop. And now it's time to reveal that this entire video is AI generated. Just kidding, I'm not AI, guys. I'm real. I swear I'm real.